Hello, Pam Bondi and Judge Napolitano, Fox Connecticut News, CBS News, and NBC, WTNH. They have FBI director, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, involved with retired Weathersfield police chiefs, with people next to the campuses intercities who have been planting predicate acts on my street and there as collusion slash S intercities. They switch names and forge names interbranch with collusions with all sides of criminal civil as collusions with all sides of criminal and civil cases and all natures of crime scenes and body dumping spots. I never had a class with a Violette or with the Kolvinskis. They sought me out on my street by themselves to make confessions and demonstrations that were, drag out years apart. But they have roles with intelligence families near me, named O'Brien and Colello, since they were kids, collusions with predicate acts and databases, and their roles acting tied to it. And they switch and forge names. There's a principal being who was involved. I caught them with worse than upskirt pictures with the kids in that forest. A bunch of kids in New Britain Superior Court and their family members have collusions in Hartford courts with sexual and medical offenders of kids. Some of them named Leahy, who faked conversations with me. These are also people with the name Colello and Demoro and Scalora, per them, and others involved with one of the people involved further with child abusers confessed Lance Cuddy. I never had a class with Lance Cuddy, never saw him inside of the campus. Lance Cuddy is one of the ones whose name was repeated to me and demonstrated to me by people through time involved with my grammar school. Further, with the ones I caught at that grammar school with the principal upskirt nature. And these are people who had roles with the abuses of a daughter of a principal when I went to that campus, Mr. Murphy. There's an Aaron Murphy who's involved with conversations with people tied to and as a John Maiano, involved with sequence ships and planting evidences and predicate acts, collusions per New Britain Superior Court with him. He's one of the ones involved. They didn't bring up his name. He's one of the ones involved with them forging and switching names. And Rick Cianfaglione brought him into his confessions. So, and their roles with sequence ships. I did not know John Maiano until 1994. I only heard his name repeated to me by Ray Colello, who's one of the ones involved with the name Colello. They didn't give the whole name, Weathersfield Police. And Bob Chase gave the name Phil Colello. With Bob Chase has Whiting Forensics with others involved with the Colello house, involved with them with various natures of federal evidences crimes and organized crimes, and with the principal upskirt nature, and their roles with charging family members of people that catch, and even when they're not family members. I caught them involved with the campuses planting organized crimes with the kids and with their own kids. A Leahy family has a little daughter in their family involved with them. They faked conversations with me. Someone tell Pam Bondi, please. These are also many tied to and as co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, in a 2006 district court case, who has organized crimes with Fox Connecticut News in Hartford, Connecticut, and names next to them. It has something to do with their roles all along Route 3 in Weathersfield, with and conjunctions to it and to that, and through the cities it goes through Route 3. But as one of the conjunctions to Route 3 is the state judicial branch offices. They have collusions with untimely deaths years apart and murders years apart with names next to them and conjunctive to it, like temporary there, next to where the state judicial branch offices is. Collusions with them. Weathersfield Pizza House has wire crimes, identity theft, fraud, slander, fake ties, fake nature ties to me with a Steven Stocco and a Maria Pizzino. And they're educators. I never saw a Maria Pizzino on a Weathersfield campus in my life. Mark Violette is one of the ones next to Hartford Hospital who has been planting evidences of people from Canada, people from Mexico, people that have ties next to and at Central Connecticut State University and their family. His mother has roles with the intelligence community at UConn. There's also a Paul Zano who sought me out to me and barely had words with him. most of his confessions were nonverbal confirmation. I only saw him standing around my neighbor once in a while. There were time where I was going to be there to make it look like I know him by taking pictures me near him. I never had communication. He used to repeat the word Jew too, to lock themselves incapable of speaking about their syntax. These are courts that fake what they think about hate crimes, because in other words, they're faking people. They're changing and faking what happens. They have their kids involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders. Brian Silver is another one that is involved with prosecutors and judges that affected confessions on my street from people tied to them, that influenced them to plant predicate acts. And on Covington Street and next to Central Connecticut State University in New Britain, Connecticut, are increasingly people from since I was a kid making confessions and saying different things. And these are intelligence families. In other words, they're leaking things. Get them the heck on paper. They're trying to make a problem between me and my neighbors with some Inspector Mike and some Mendez police that faked conversations with me. I never had a conversation ever, or not even a word, with the older Mendez police brother. He pretended other at the Wethersfield Police Department when I was an adult, as collusions with Saudi attackers, forcing my Saudi friend to collusion with that, and with the FBI director, Robert Luskin, and people named Demaro Scalora and Colello. Scalora recorded is involved with people named, no, I don't even know them. He's involved with people. I didn't even go to my schools. His cousins are on my street, involved with a house, involved with 2 retired police chiefs and their intimate ties and their families. They have a daughter of a police chief, Cintron. They're using that as fake motivations. He's confessing and demonstrating her involved with them with identity theft, fraud, slanders with him, and with her, the family of her reported husband, Reno Mazzucato. I never saw him inside of a Wethersfield campus I went to in my life. He's involved with sequence shifts, with a John Maiano, with federal evidences crimes, people on my street when I was a kid and now as an adult. And these are interbranch, refusing to identify legitimately. A bunch of people tied to a John Maiano have intercities involved with the Britain Superior Courts, judges and prosecutors, personally and professionally, involved with predicate acts on my street, with a Colello family, and ties to them with the other streets, with their syntax, with the important and domestic intelligence used remotely, criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw, and them lying about. In other words, they forcing me to use their names, otherwise use violence to counter violence. They have a Phil Colello further involved in my street with nonverbal confirmations. They have some intercultural. They have some black KKK, Confederate flag, Latino themed roles with some untimely deaths, and their roles with the courts and the prisons. These are people with the state judicial branch offices and corrections offices, hyper additionally collusions with them already in the past with all sides of criminal and civil cases, and the news at the same time putting the same predicate acts and collusions with crime scenes that way. In other words, many pray vaccines get fixed the fake news, please. Watch. Get them off their fake conversations with me. Watch what I caught them doing.